The ship next to it, but to me, the heat was a godsend. I'd used the last of my miracle drug, my methotrexate, months before, and despite the pain-masking cloak Mjolnir had commissioned for me on our trip to Nitavitlir, and Sif's best efforts, my joints hurt, and the heat helped. "I wish you had stayed at Vidar and Fricka's estate," I said for the 4th or 5th time.
"Hank Jensen, bring that up again and you're going to limp the rest of the way to Pilrust," said Jane. "And not because of your illness." "Tell him, Jane," said Jarn Saxa. "He's as stubborn as my husband."
"Oh God, not that," said Mjolnir with mock horror. "Surely no man aspires to emulate the Isir that spawned an entire mythos, not to mention a film franchise." Sif turned a baleful glare at Mjolnir.
"Hank, I wish you'd never told him of these things called movers. Movies, Auntie Sniffles," said Sig. "Yes, movies. Wasn't his head big enough?"
Mjolnir grumbled something under his breath and turned away to gaze out at Steintun Haf, the great ocean that bordered Sulheim Ikier to the east. I took Jane's hand, suppressing a sigh. "I don't want either of you getting hurt." Life on Osgarthr had been pleasant and bucolic since we'd rescued Jane and Sig from Luca and Hell. It was a grand place, full of interesting people, but being trapped there rankled, and since my family's rescue resulted in the closure of the Prier, we had to go to the Herpertiaf Rustum, to the so-called Rooms of Ruin, and get the Prier functioning again, if we could. The Herpertiaf Rustum were located far to the north, on the northern continent known as Kleimtland. We needed to go to a place named Pilrust, a long, disused citadel of the Gemlu. The journey would be a long one, fraught with dangers we couldn't predict, and that's if the Dark Queen and her minions left us alone.
"And still he carries on,"
said Jarn Saxa in an exasperated tone, but with a glint of humor in her eye.
"Why can't men ever see when they're beaten?" "Might as well ask the sun to set in the east," said Jane.
Mjolnir glanced over his shoulder. "That one wasn't that bad, Jane. You're getting the hang of it."
"Awesome. I'm happy I graduated to not that bad,"
said Jane in a drawl tone.
"Don't listen to him, dear," said Fricka. "That one has always been slow to admit defeat."
The ship looked like a logical evolution of a Viking longship from Mythgarthr, long and narrow, but with 3 masts, multiple decks, and a hold for the horses. The captain and crew had taken our coin without comment, despite the looks they'd given each other when Mjolnir had told them the party's ultimate destination. "Defeat? Me? I haven't even begun."
"You've finished. Everyone knows this but you," grumbled
Sif. "Woman, one day your mouth will get you into trouble that your pitiful shield—" "Oh, here it comes," said Moti. "Good. I haven't seen my father thoroughly thrashed in a flighting for months. Go on, father." Beside him, Sig snickered. "I can see I will get no rest on this trip," said Mjolnir.
"Keep flapping those lips, dear one, and you'll be whining and winging about the amount of rest you get," said Jarn Saxa. Mjolnir looked first at Jarn Saxa and then at Sif. With a long-suffering sigh, he closed his mouth and boarded the ship. "We're losing the tide," he called. "Now he thinks he's the captain," murmured Moti. "The man has a difficult time navigating out of his own bedroom in the morning." "I heard that," said Mjolnir. "You're not so old I can't ground you." Moti rolled his eyes, but turned his head, so his expression was only visible to Sig. "Yes, father," he said. "And don't think I don't know you're over there rolling your eyes, showing off for your young cousin." The stevedores finished loading the last of the party's luggage and the provisions for the voyage, and the captain paid them in Mjolnir's silver coins. "Let's get going," he said, "before we lose the tide." Altiof scowled as he stepped off the gangplank and onto the deck. He walked as if the deck beneath him might break with each step. "The ship is sound, sir," said the captain, coming up the gangplank behind him. "Sound? Sound? That's made of wood." The captain shook his head and strode back to the bridge of the ship. Mjolnir turned and walked toward the captain. "Oh, for ice's sake, Mjolnir, leave the man be so we can get under way," snapped Jarn Saxa.
"I think I'll stand with the captain for the beginning of our voyage." Sif tapped her foot and crossed her arms.
"I think you'll stay out of the man's way before I clout—"
"Father! Come stand next to Sig and me. Tell